Hello everyone, and welcome back to Shady Movie Reviews, and today we're going to be reviewing the movie BrightBurn. So, this movie BrightBurn is brought to us by David Rofsky and James Gunn, who is the same man who brought us Guardians of the Galaxy. Much talent there. I want to start off this review by asking a question. Is this movie an attempt at an original film? Or was this a psycho evil Superman baby who goes around murdering people? Either way, we have an awesome movie to talk about. So in this movie, Brightburn, we follow a young married couple who lives in the middle of nowhere in Kansas, and they're trying to have a kid, but they can't for specific reasons. And one night when they're making an attempt, they look out into the distance of their property, and there's a big red light that flashes. And the next scene cuts to them taking care of a small baby. So I think we could all agree that this is a recipe for disaster. So after this, then we have a little bit of exposition thrown into the film. Some of it being really good and some of it being really bad. Not really bad, I want to say somewhat. Because a lot of this exposition that was thrown into the film was used as really good character building moments and character development and world building, which was really good because it really showed you like where the movie was being made, why, where it was coming from, where they were in the world. You know, it was really good to see that and to see the main character and kind of like where he's starting off. It was really good, but some of it seemed a little bit unnecessary and wasted potential where they could have done a little bit more. And but nonetheless, after all that exposition, then some really weird shit starts happening. And then horror, suspense, and intensity follow you on this journey with this weird, odd child. That I gotta be honest, this kid is weird, okay? Like if I were to meet this kid in real life, I would know he was some freaky devil child, okay? Like I don't know what was wrong with the characters in this film. Like I don't know. Just no. Freaky ass child, okay? But now I want to talk about the problems I had with the film. One of the problems I had with the film was the mom, and not necessarily the mom's like acting. The mom's acting was really, really well done. She was a really good actor, or actress, but I had a problem so much with her character, and what I mean by that is that she played her role well. It's just there's certain, you know when you're watching a horror film and there's that moment where you're like this type of character that usually does that specific type of thing and these specific types of situations don't do that one thing, and then they do it, and then you're sitting in the theater like, I told you not to do it, but you did it anyway. Like it's kind of like one of those. And you kind of just sit there and just like, why? Why'd you have to do that? Like, I told you not to do it. Like, you have some control over the movie and how it goes. Like, you give advice to them or some shit. Like, but, and I know that sounds very vague as well, but I'm also trying to stay away from spoilers because I really did enjoy this film. And I don't want to spoil it for you guys because this movie is really good and I think it's definitely worth a watch. But another thing I have a problem with, not necessarily, this is like a plus and a negative, but the movie was an hour and 31 minutes long. But sitting in the movie, there were so many times where I checked my phone because I felt that the movie was already like almost over. I felt I had already been in the movie for 2 hours. Like, I felt like the movie was over 2.5 hours. And that's not necessarily saying it was a bad thing. It's saying that there was a lot in this film. And there were a lot of moments where I felt like we were reaching the climax, and really we were like 40 minutes in. I was like, and what that kind of told me was it was like this movie was very unpredictable in my opinion. I didn't really know where they were gonna take it or like where they were going with the film. It seemed to me to be very like when in the middle of the film you don't really know what they're doing or how it's gonna end or what they're doing, because I was really thinking it was going to go one way, and then I was like, oh, maybe it might go this way, and then it didn't really go either way, and I was kind of just like, oh, wow, I didn't think that they were going to go that route, but they did. So to me, it was very unpredictable, but like it was just jarring. Just the way the movie was structured, it always felt like it was about to end, but it wasn't, in my opinion. But the main problem of this movie has got to be the main character, Brandon. And don't get me wrong, the main character, Brandon, is really good. But the whole time you're watching the movie, there's a huge disconnect between the main character, Brandon, and the audience. And what I mean by that is we never get to see much of what drives Brandon, what makes him tick. We never get to see how he views the world or how he views the people around him. We don't get to see his motives, his drive, what makes him so angry, what makes him feel the way he feels. Like, they do it a little, they brush on it, but I just feel like if we got to see more of that, like, nature versus nurture kind of vibe they had going on there, like, because obviously his nature is evil, but then, like, he still has a nurturing mother and father. And, like, I wish they would have showcased more of that struggle that he wants to do the good thing, but then still ultimately fails to his nature. I wish they would have played that up more, because that would have been such a good thing to throw into the movie. Like, sometimes you can't, like, override your nature. Like, it would have been a good theme to have if they would have pushed that a little more. And I would have really appreciated it if they kind of went more with that route, with that kind of that struggle of good and evil. Because that's always a good theme to have in your movies. And it would have been nice if Brandon, the actor, had more lines, and if he was able to showcase more of his feelings and why he did the things he did and how he felt about them. It would have been better. It would have made him a deeper, layered character that the audience could have connected with more and understood more from a different point of view. But now I want to talk about the positive points, though, because there's a lot of those too. So first of all, I want to say that this was an amazing addition to the superhero genre and a big twist on one of the most iconic superhero origin stories that we know of. Like, taking the most famous superhero story and then flipping it on its head. Like, I gotta be honest, guys, this movie was dark. And the only thing that makes me sad is the fact that it didn't go darker. Like, this movie was crazy. Another thing, too, is that I love the fact that it's an original premise, but at the same time, it's copying the Superman story. It's like an Elseworld Superman. But in a world where we have so many superhero movies and they all generally have the same themes and ideas, this one necessarily doesn't. It's kind of like a reverse, and I really liked that they kind of took a different spin on a superhero like person, but they're not really a hero. It was really nice to see something different and them take a different route and also kind of dip into the horror genre and superpowers at the same time. I thought it was a really nice touch. Another really good thing I liked about this movie, there was a scene in this movie. I won't go into too many details because I don't want to, spoilers. I want to stay away from those. But there's a scene where the parents, they go into the kid's bedroom and they look underneath his bed and they find Victoria's Secret magazines. But then, because that's kind of normal, he's like 12, 13. But then they find some other shit. And, like, just the way the parents react, it was just funny because it was so, like, oblivious, but at the same time it was very, like, dark humor, like, very dark. And I was kind of, it just made me bust out laughing because I thought it was so ridiculous, but it was definitely probably the highlight of that movie. Like, comedy-wise. Because this movie is more based on the horror, but, like, I really did enjoy that part. It really kept me laughing for a while. And another big point I want to bring up about this movie is the gore in this movie was used very creatively. Now, a lot of movies tend to have mindless violence, and this was not mindless violence. Anytime someone was about to be hurt or injured or killed in this movie, it was very intentional and very specific how they were going to be hurt or killed. And what I mean by that is it was very methodical and planned out by the writers and the character, showing that there was a lot of intent and a lot of thought behind the character who was enacting this violence, that they put a lot of thought into how they wanted to hurt somebody. And that I thought was really good, because it's something called effective violence. When you have violence that makes your stomach drop, and when you see it, you actually feel like it's happening to you, and you can kind of feel that pain. You can feel your chest stop. That's when you know that that's actually, like, it's not mindless violence. It's thought out. And I thought it was amazing, and it was used very creatively. It was used very well, and it was like just A+ to the writers for like planning out those scenes and how people were getting murdered. It was absolutely painful to watch these people. Like, anytime someone was injured or killed, it was not fun. I felt like every single thing that happened to them. But I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about my overall judgment of the film. So, the best way I could say it is BrightBurn was really entertaining, and it kept me guessing almost the whole film. I love the visuals, the effects. Like, the visual effects were amazing in this film. Like, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but this film only had a $7 million budget. And to put that into perspective for those people that don't know much about movie budgets, Avengers Infinity War had $350 million dollars to spend on their movie, whereas Brightburn only had $7 million. And when you see the effects in this movie, it does not look like it cost $7 million. It looks a lot more expensive than that. And I gotta give an A+ to those visual effects workers. They deserve an award because they did an amazing job with their visual effects. Like, really good job. Bravo to them. You know. But I also gotta make a comment about the costume. In the movie, the kid has a costume. You know, kind of like Superman. He has a costume. This little kid, he has like a cape, and it's like wrapped around his face too, and there's like little gas mask looking thing. It's really weird, but I really loved the costume, and I felt like it added so much more to the movie, because not only was it really creepy, but I also felt it was some weird shit that a 12-year-old would do. You know, like a little cape wrapped around your head, and a little like gas mask looking trunk thing. Like, it was creepy, but at the same time, it shows that not only is he like evil Superman, but he's also just a kid. And like, I really loved the costume because it showed that, yeah, he's evil, yeah, he's crazy, yeah, he murders people, but he's a kid. Like, and like, you can really see that with the costume, and it portrays a lot. And I feel like if they just had him just as a normal kid doing the same things without the costume, I feel like the movie wouldn't have been as good. It wouldn't have had the same effect on people or the audience. I felt like it really added a lot of depth to like the character, and like the fact that he was like hiding himself, and like it was kind of like a different persona. Like, I really liked that idea and that the way it was portrayed. But I do gotta say though, in comparison of the premise versus the execution of the film, I felt like if they tried and put a little bit more, this could have been scariest movie of the year. Like, I'm not gonna lie, guys. Like, this movie was really good, and in a world where I feel like our horror movies aren't as good as they used to be, this was really good. This one really had me on my toes. It had my gut wrenching. Like, I really felt this intense feeling watching the movie, and I really don't get that from a lot of horror films anymore. So I thought it was really well done. I felt that they just could have done better, you know? But that's not to say that the movie wasn't amazing, because it is a really good film. But I'm just going to go ahead and give BrightBurn a 6 in originality, a 7 for visuals, a 7 for the script, an 8 for overall creepiness, suspensefulness, and intensity. Yeah, intensity. And the reason why is because this movie was creepy, it was suspenseful, and it definitely was intense. Which would be making my overall score 7.5 out of 10. So I want to end off this review with asking a question. If a Superman-like being crashed on Earth, do you think he or she would end up like Clark Kent or Brendan Breyer? What do you guys think? So BrightBurn, have you guys seen it? Have you guys not? Go like, subscribe, jump down in the comment section, answer the question, let's start a conversation. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.